Hello. Just let me know if people can hear me okay, if we got good quality and you can hear my voice fine while I make a drink. I think I have chat set up and stuff, so yeah, I got a hello. How's everyone doing? I hope that people are fine, keeping safe, all of that stuff. I'm going to be drinking some alcohol while I do this. Gonna see if I can sort of code things out before I finish this bowl, and stuff like that. Should be fun. Not gonna do anything serious. Not gonna do. That's probably a horrible sound for you to hear. Not gonna do anything crazy. Gonna be coding basically a new personal site for myself. And as I no longer need to sort of advertise for clients and stuff, it's just going to be sort of like a fun little website where I just sort of like have my current position and just a fun little thing. So yeah. So let me show you guys the design, which was designed by my friend Bobby. Where let's just get his Twitter up ready so that we can give him a shout out, because I don't know, I find design so hard, like so much harder than development, that it's kind of nice to have friends that will make you design your site, that because you know you can you can design all day, and then if you're the one that designed it, you'll never be happy with it. So yeah. Disaronno crew, yeah. Hey Matt, how are you doing? So okay, let's go to screencast. Okay, so now you should be able to see my face down on the bottom, all of that stuff. This is Bobby. He works with me at Jour, and he's the designer at Jour and co-founder, and I'm the lead developer. And for fun, he made me this little website, and this is what I'm going to be sort of coding it. I'm going to be making it in React. Not going to do anything crazy, as I said. Just going to be sort of like making some really basic components. There's going to be a few fun things that happen. So this will be typing out, and I think I'm going to use this sort of library package like React, because it just seems pretty simple. There's like a decent amount of stars. It looks like it hasn't been updated for a few years, maybe. But for what I want it to do, which if we look at the example, is literally just typing out, it's simple, really. Hey Katie, I hope that you're enjoying this stream. I'm going to try and not get too drunk in the meantime, because otherwise I'm going to get nowhere. But I'll show you what I have so far. I haven't really done. We can have some interesting conversations maybe. By the way, my chat is on this screen here, so if I'm looking at this way all the time, I'm just checking the chat. And if the music is annoying at all, let me know. It's just some sort of crappy copyright-free playlist on Spotify that I can use on my streams. But if it's like so terrible that you're hating the stream, then let me know and we can just chill with some silence and the occasional slurp of my drink. But we should get going, because I don't want to spend ages on here, so I'll show you what I've got. It's just basically a super simple Next.js React template. I've already exported the images and the fonts. You might not be able to see this actually. Let's bring this up. So I got the fonts and I got the images. And so far I've literally just got this index, the app, which kind of just wraps the whole, all of the components in these pages folder. Same with the document. Document just sort of renders some styled component stuff, because I'm going to be using styled components. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I think I have a component. Yeah, I have layout, which is literally just including this global styles, which is sort of like the global styles of the site. I don't really know how else to say it, but it's like the common pattern for Style.js to kind of just have like this create global style stuff, and then I have this, which is going to be setting like a custom cursor, which I was playing with before this video, because I've never done custom cursors before. I hadn't really thought about it before, so I just wanted to see how it does. I tried just doing this SVG one, but for some reason Chrome only supports like PNG, and then if you do use an SVG, then it's like pixelated, which is crappy. So you have to do like an at 2 times. But that gives you a fairly decent, if we refresh this, fairly decent result where sort of like you get this sort of red cursor, which have these cursors sort of follow you around the site, and then if you sort of go on my eye or something, or if you go on my ear, or go on these laptop logos, then it will say different things. Just a little fun thing. And this background gradient is going to be sort of moving and morphing. And I'm going to see if I can sort of have a workaround for that for this stream, because I think if I worked with like a SVG animation library like D3 or something and then actually morphed it, we could spend hours just working on a background, which isn't really ideal. So what I did for this background is I basically just exported these two shapes, which is what they are. They're just these two shapes with like a blur effect on them. And then what I'm going to do for now in this stream, I'm basically just going to be moving this across and up and down and stuff, and I'm going to be doing the same for this one, and then hopefully together, when they're blurred, it will look more like some sort of morphing gradient instead of things like that. So with this layout here, I might move this microphone so that when I look at this screen, it's actually a bit more clearer for you. So we've got this container, which I made a position absolute because I kind of want these shapes to just be on the document, like in the DOM, and then just sort of have like a Z index of 1 lower. Keep it really simple. It might sort of make my laptop take off a tiny bit. I'm not sort of planning on doing any sort of mad optimizations. Thinking we could do some fun streams afterwards, which is like taking this and sort of making it a little bit better. So cool, we're on 10 people watching right now, so let me know and give me like a massive shout if anything drops with like frame rates or audio or anything like that. I haven't really streamed very much, and like I have a 5K screen, and it's really annoying to stream with because you have to like downscale it for 1080p, and it was annoying. But I think we're going to get into coding now. I have my sort of localhost running and compiling, and you can go to this website and sort of every time I commit, it should sort of automatically reload and have the latest. But this is my localhost, so this will give us some results. So I think I'm going to start off by making these background blobs, and I have the SVGs somewhere in here. I have pink blob and yellow blob. Very explain it. I don't know the word for this, but I'm not drunk, I promise. I'm not very good with words. So let's go and see. Okay, I'm just going to think about this. So we have this container, which is positioned absolute, so it's going to be a layer above whatever is here. So maybe I should just have the blobs like here. Okay, let's do that. Let's get out of here. Let's go into these styles, which I'm importing styled components, and I'm gonna do like let's do the yellow one first. Yellow blob is what we'll call it. And for now, I'm gonna just do like an image, which is explanatory. Yeah, maybe. I'm just gonna do sort of images that are linking to SVGs. I'm not gonna import the SVGs directly. I think we may get some sort of performance increase if I did that, but as I said, I'm not looking for like the fastest best website. I'm just gonna be having some fun, and if I focus too hard on that, it will just be like a 10-hour stream of where I make a background that moves, and that's just gonna be no fun. So we're just gonna be doing images, and I need to think how this is gonna be. So if we want it to be position absolute, I guess we should just make it show on the Did you plan to match the blobs with the T? No, I didn't. But, I mean, happy accident, I guess. What am I doing? Position absolute. Right. I guess I'm just going to set it in the top left for now. Top 0 pixels, left 0 pixels. And we'll just now do this. And we'll do, was it yellow blob that I did first? Yeah. Source. And if we just do images / I think it will automatically select as public directory, and it's just pink - blob. Oh, I'm doing yellow, so I should probably do yellow blob because that's gonna just make no sense to me later on. Okay, does that show? Okay, so we have this blob on the screen, which is great. It's kind of similar to this, apart from the colors on Figma and web just never match up, which is really kind of annoying, but we're just going to live with it. It's exactly the same hex. I've checked it 1,000 times. There's no opacity levels. There's nothing that's messing it up. It's just, it doesn't look like the same color. So if Bobby, you want to find me some different colors that will work better and look kind of like how this gradient looks over here, a bit more on here, then that would be great. But until then, I'm just going to be working with this. So we can see that this blob here is actually sort of like up tons and to the right tons and stuff. It's not actually like directly centered or anything. I think Bobby just sort of moved it around until he found a position where the gradient looked nice. We're going to kind of try and replicate that in code. But obviously we need to be careful because we need to think of other screen sizes and how we don't want this to necessarily just be like a pink screen on a really big screen and things. It's not slightly darker on web. It's kind of like, it's just less, the colors don't pop as much. Like on here, it's kind of like a really bright pink and sort of like a nice goldy, and this is just kind of looks dull. Like kind of like a bit dulled down, like it has got like a slight opacity on it, but it doesn't, I promise. All right, so let's move this about and get this into a position that's a little bit more. Thank you for letting me know that hex. Okay, so what did we say? It was a bit off the screen at the top, and we want to consider all sort of devices. So maybe instead of pixels, we're going to use sort of like the view width and view height. Maybe we're just going to focus on view width because if the view width is really small, then we still want that to be the thing it listens to and not the height, because iPhone portraits kind of have a really long height compared to width, and I think width is just easier. So I'm going to do top minus 30 VW, view width. And that's literally a complete guess. And instead of left, I'll do right because it's kind of all the way to the right, and I'll do like minus 50 view width. So this should kind of be similar to this shape. So we kind of have this little blob which comes out here. It's kind of in the same place. I'm not going to worry about it too much because it's going to be moving around anyway, and I'm sure that at some point in the transition it's going to hit the right spot. So hey, nice to see you, James. Yeah, I do remember speaking. Glad you sort of jumped on my stream, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. Gonna try and not get drunk and just try and code something relatively nice. It might not be nice. There's no promises there, but I'm gonna try and stream a bit more because, you know, everyone could do with some fun streams to watch right now. So yeah, currently I'm working on this weird shape which is going to soon turn into this blur. In fact, if we just do like a filter blur, is that how we do it? And do like 100 pixels. I honestly can't remember if you do filter blur. I think so, right? And then that should blur. Okay, so you see where we end up with this kind of blurred shape, which is gonna look nice. For now, I'm gonna just not do this blur because it kind of helps me visualize it a bit more when it's just a solid shape, especially when I see it moving around the screen and stuff. Right now, I think this is going to stay, it's going to stay the same sort of width and height if we move it around. So I kind of want to change that with the setting the width and height here. But another issue, these gradients aren't exactly 100% width or height. So it's not going to be as simple as doing like 100 VH and 100 VW. It's just like, it's, you know, it's clearly above and the height and width. So I'm thinking maybe like 150 VH and W might be alright. So let's try width, VW, 150, height, also 150 VH. Let's do this, and this should make sure. Okay, so now it kind of grows with the screen, which is a bit nicer because it means that when we have it animating and we have the blur effect going on, it's going to be the same on most sort of screen sizes because the shapes are going to resize depending on the size of the screen, which is wonderful. I'm going to have another drink, and Bobby sent me some hex codes which I can use to replace this SVG with, which is really cool because hopefully these are going to be a bit more the right color. Okay, so I'll copy them, and I think the background color of the pink is done in the global styles, somewhere down here. Yep. I'm not really worried about setting any constant variables and having like a theme provider with styled components and things like that. Again, this is like super basic. I'm not sort of using any of the advanced stuff that styled components does or any of the advanced stuff that Next.js does. I'm just literally using them as sort of like, we could make some more streams later on which will maybe take these features out and make them more advanced. But we're going to try out this pink. Oh, that's the yellow. Lovely. So we'll take that and we'll put this on the yellow blob SVG right here. So this should be the yellow, and then the pink should be this hex here. I don't know if that's changed anything. I think we're kind of just lost for hope here. I think just, you know, colors don't look as nice on web as they do in Figma for some odd reason. I don't know. If anyone knows the answer, feel free to put it in the chat because it'd probably save me some time. Alright, I'll revert the colors for now because you're saying they're not better. I trust your opinion on these things because, I mean, okay, yeah, this is better in my opinion. I think this is much better. The color is sort of deeper, more of a contrast with the pink. But we're like, how long are we into the stream? We've only done like a few lines of code, so we're gonna have to pick things up because I've got a lot that I need to get through. All right, so we've got this position absolute is at the top, is at the right, and it's like slightly bigger and taller than the window, which is kind of exactly what Bobby had in the design. But so now we're going to make like an animation keyframe, and we're going to try and make this move around the screen. I'm just going to call this yellow move because it's moving and it's yellow, so that name makes perfect sense. I'm not going to do anything crazy with the percentages, maybe a 40% start, just so that the first 40% is going to be normal. We don't want to move it too fast, we want to going crazy around the screen. And we're going to be using transform properties because it just renders a bit better and smoother with animations. This should be keyframes. Thank you for telling me that, VS Code. The VS Code theme I am using is a good question. Color theme is this Tokyo Night. Yeah, Tokyo Night. So if you like that, my phone's going off. Just some Twitter. Thank you for the retweet, Bobby. I appreciate it. We're transforming things and we need to translate, and we'll just do translate instead of translate X and Y because we'll be changing the X and Y. But I think for this one, I'm just going to make it move across like 40% of the view width. And we'll keep it keep it at the same height for now. And then maybe just do one more, which is kind of double it, so it takes the same amount of time to get to this point. Transform, translate. What do we want to transform? What do we want to do here? I mean, maybe we don't need to do anything. It's going to move here. We kind of just want it to move back, I think. Because if it goes too crazy, then you're going to see the shape of the blur. Because I don't think all sides of the SVG are sort of neatened out. So for now, I'm just going to kind of make this go back to where it was. I'm just going to do 0v width and v height. And we'll see how this looks. So animation, great, thank you. Don't need any of that crap. So what did we call it? Yellow move. Let's do it for like 5 seconds. I don't know, we'll do ease in and out just so it's a little bit smoother when it hits them points. And is it loop? It's infinity. Right, that should move it around the screen. Okay, so boom and back. And boom and back. Okay, it's a little bit fast. Let's go with 20 seconds. This should be super slow. Okay, cool. We're now going to copy and paste this. We'll change this to pink because the next blob that we're going to be making is pink. And pretty much do things stay the same? I guess. Let's have a look at the old Figma. This is much sort of like smaller in scale. It's not so big and it's actually kind of in the window. It's not exactly at the top, but I think I'm going to put it at the top because I think then I can animate it downwards and it will kind of hit this point. So pink blob, let's just put it at the top. The width and height, I guess it's like 90% of the height, and it's like, I don't know, would you call this 80% width? Let's just try that. Width, 80 view width, height, 90 view height. We're gonna need to change this animation name because otherwise it's gonna like get confused with this one, which is quite easy because, you know, we can just call this pink. And we said we wanted to move it down exactly like we wanted it to, so this is actually kind of alright. Do we want to move it across? This isn't moving it down, is it? This is moving it to the X because it's XY. Okay, so we can move it to the X, but maybe this one we need to move it up slightly because we want it to kind of hit this position that it's in. I don't know. We're just gonna try this out. It might look a bit weird. Refresh this. Okay, so now we have two blobs that are moving. It's kind of weird that they're moving at the same time. I'm gonna try and change this to like half it, maybe like 10 seconds, just so that they start separating away from each other, and then the shapes should start getting slightly different, especially when this one starts going up. But I'm not seeing any changes here, so let's try and wait, I didn't even put it on the page. This helps. This is why I'm not seeing any changes, right? So let's just import this pink blob, change this to pink blob. This should go away, please, because we're importing it here. Yep, it's just catching up with me. Okay, so now we should see the pink blob, right? Yeah, okay, so now we have the pink blob. It's moving slightly faster than the yellow blob, so they cross over at certain points, and then the yellow blob sort of moves. I think this pink blob needs to sort of stay more over to like this side a bit more. So let's sort of see what we can do about that. We should change this to left so it's not attached to the right side of the screen. We should probably bring this, yeah, it starts off more around here. Okay, so this is cool. So let's just remove this blur comment so that it blurs, and we should get something kind of cool, hopefully. So this should be animating, right? Yeah, it's animating. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks kind of subtle. I'm not 100% convinced. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. I like it. I definitely like it. Okay, so that's this done. One step done for now. I mean, I definitely think it's going to be really cool because these SVGs are simple, right? They're just like these simple paths which you can have just animate them through either like SVGs. If we like open and close this path, we can have like animation properties inside the SVG, or we can use like a JavaScript library like D3 and we can actually morph the physical SVG all these weird shapes so it looks a bit better than this. But for now, to save times on this live stream, I think it looks good. I think it looks good. All right, so let's see what is sort of next. We have this like an emoji of me. I guess I could start putting in these sort of links up here. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's do it. So I'm gonna need to have, I guess this is sort of like a header. This is like a header. So I'm gonna create a new folder for the header, and I'm just gonna do like an index.tsx, and I'm more than definitely gonna need styles. So I'll just do styles.typescript ts. Yes. Okay, let's go to the index page, which is what this page is, and we're gonna want this header. Just, I guess we'll just pop it here, header, and then we'll import header from components header. Did I spell that right? Yes, maybe. It just might not be able to find it because it doesn't have anything returning out of this index. So let's do this import react from react, and I know that I did these the wrong way around. Okay, so this header is going to be a functional component. So we can just do react.fc to sort of type that as a functional component. Then we're gonna return maybe like a div. I cannot type saying, hello, I am a header. I am header. And then we'll export the default, which is the header. You can tell I've typed out helper too many times, but that's the first thing. This has got an error because it's an empty page, but we're not importing it, so that should be fine. Does this go away now? Because component is, have I spelled anything wrong? Header. Does it at least show up anywhere? No, cannot resolve components header. Why? Ah, I missed the bloody dot. This is good. This is practicing. This should work now. We should get this. Hello, I am a header, which is great. Thanks. It's not exactly very performant. We could make it a lot more performant, but I'm really not focusing on things being performant. I'm focusing on having a few drinks, making this website, and having some fun doing it. Yeah. I think my camera every now and again gets a bit sort of hot and starts breaking. So if anything sort of lags out on this screen down here, let me know and I can sort of fix that. Or I can switch to my webcam. I've got 2 webcams, so, you know, we don't have to use the fancy camera. I just thought it would be cool, but it might die on me, and in that case, it's not very cool. Okay, this header is in the wrong place. This header is in the middle of the screen, but the reason for that is quite simple, because we just have some, this is a flex box, right? And it's just sort of aligning some items to the center. Let's not do that for now, just so that things go back to the top and right, and they're kind of how we expect them to be. Why no green screen? Well, I thought about setting up the green screen But I was just like, oh my god. If I set up a green screen, no one's going to see how nice my office is. So that's why no green screen. We're going to make this header. We're going to see how far away it is from these sides, 40 pixels, which is nice. So let's import styled from styled components, and then export const styled header, which is going to be a style.header, and let's just have like a margin left of 40 pixels and a margin top of 40 pixels to push that away. Once we have that, we can import this styled header there from the styles, which should now give this hello I am header some room away from this. Great, I did not close it off. I bet you guys spot this stuff as well, and normally I'd definitely spot it, but I think while I'm live streaming I'm a bit distracted and I don't see this thing. So yeah, now we have 40 pixels away from the tops, which is great. LOL is definitely allowed to show in this chat, I think, right? So I'm going to show that. Right, where are we going? Where are we going? Okay, so we have my name, we have my Twitter handle, we have this underline, which isn't the native like text decoration underline, so can do something fun with that, I guess. Can we animate borders with just like a transition property? I guess we can try. Just trying to think what a cool way we can do to kind of like hover over this and change the border animation or something, but maybe another time we'll just put this in. So we have my name, Joseph Smith. It's not a link or anything, so it's just going to be, I guess, a span tag. Yeah, it's been a while since I've coded anything on web, so I kind of forget tags. I make kind of apps now, and I have for the past sort of 2 years or so, make it with React Native. I've played around with Swift, not great at it. I know a few bits and bobs, enough to kind of import like a native component into React Native, and I think that's kind of all I need to know for now until I start moving across to a native sort of setup. Played around with Flutter too, which is really, really cool. I really am excited to see where that goes, but at the moment I think React Native has a bit more of just sort of like general support online. Might be wrong, haven't seen Flutter in a while. Alright, let's make this name. I'm gonna make it a span tag. You can murder me all you want in the chat. I'm gonna make it a span tag. Export const style. I guess we can't call it styled. I'll just put in like my name. Why is Notion's React Native app so slow? Well, that is something that you're gonna have to ask them. I don't know. I didn't even know that Notion's app was in React Native. But you know, they'd probably get better performance if they went native. Just happens that way. It's kind of impossible to match the two up because React Native isn't native, works with a bridge and with a JavaScript thread, which is always going to be slower than the native app. You can do some really cool things, and I've spent like the last year or so doing some really heavy optimizations to the apps that I work on, which by the way is Jour. I don't know if you know or don't know. I'm the lead developer at Jour, which is an app for helping people who suffer with mental health, just kind of help them improve their day with guided journaling. Super cool app. We've been sort of app of the day on the App Store a few times, and super fun, great team, really love it. But today we're not going to be doing Jour. Today we're going to be making my website, and we need some font sizes. 20 pixels, semi-bold. I don't think I have the semi-bold font installed, which might be annoying for Bobby, but we're going to see what it looks like with medium. And I'm sorry. And I think I set my medium to be the 500. Nope, no work on weekends, which isn't really a normal thing for me. I used to work pretty much every single day that I could, but recently taking some time to myself on weekends to do some things myself, which is fun. I really enjoy it. So yeah, no work on weekends. Hopefully more YouTube on weekends. Who knows? Also, this song that's in the background is some crazy ass song that I can only just hear it from headphones. So I don't know if it's like louder for you guys, but crazy. We're gonna use this my name component. My name. Do you know what my name is? That's my name. Sometimes VS Code doesn't, even though it comes up when I import it, doesn't actually import it in this little thing here. Definitely should. Okay, so now we have Joseph Smith, which is in 20 pixels and it is in white, which kind of looks similar to this, which is cool. What happens if we just put a link directly in here? To my Twitter, I guess. I really hope that's my Twitter. It's gonna be embarrassing if it's not my Twitter. I'm pretty sure that's my Twitter. That gives me my link, right? Ooh. Did I miss something? This definitely should be showing. Okay, it's just taking forever to render out. How are my frame rates doing? They okay. I'm hitting like 28 frames per second. I've got it maxed out to 30 frames because I'm also downscaling a 5K screen and I don't really want to have too much crazy things going on because my laptop takes off on a good day. So if I'm streaming as well, it's going to be out the window in no time. This font size is incorrect, right? No, it's correct. It's just a different font weight. But that's fine because we can just use this to do font weight 400, and we're going to remove the default text decoration. We're just going to use none, and we're going to set the color to white. This should... Okay, cool. Now we're going to have like a little fake underline. It's not going to be an actual text decoration because they are way too close to the text in my opinion, and I like to have a bit more control with where that line is. Let's read some text. Fast coding, thank you. I've been coding now for like 11 years, so I should hope that I can type code out fast. But yeah, 11 years. God, I started when I was like 14. I'm 25 now. So, and back when I started, there was no fun things like border radiuses, right? You had to use images to get a border radius, and that was a pain in the ass. So I like the web of today. I designed a small portfolio. I was going to start coding, but I'm confused whether to use Vue, React. Any advice? Whatever you fancy. I mean, literally there's going to be tons of reasons to use React. I mean, it's really easy to pick up React Native and make apps, but then Vue also have a sort of native, is it called like native script or something? It's called something. Let's type in like Vue native app or something. Is it Vue native? Is it literally that? Quite a while ago, so it's probably changed a lot. I switched to React simply because I was working in a startup in London that used React. I went to React. I've stuck with it since. But with these sort of things, it's literally like whatever takes your fancy. Yeah, they're very similar. Very similar. I don't think I could have any good argument on to whether to use one or the other. So yeah, whatever you choose. But whatever it is, you should stream it to your YouTube channel and code because this is fun. Right, let's make an underline. So how am I going to do this underline? I guess I could just use like a border bottom, right? So if I do like a border bottom of 1 pixel solid white, does that even show? Because okay, that shows. That's kind of like right-ish, right? Is it just me, or is that did I just kind of hit the nail on the head instead of using? text decoration use underline? Maybe. I mean, I could, if I wanted to, have some padding bottom on this. Like maybe let's just make this ridiculous just so that we can see and have like 10 pixels. Does that even affect it? Okay, so yeah, we could even just have that, which is kind of like great. But yeah, we're gonna just remove that because I think it's not really needed. Yeah, it's fine. The only thing that I will say is that this link is kind of styled in this my name section. There is other links that we need to think about here. So maybe we should change how I name this and just have sort of just call this like header text or something, and then have another class that I can use in here, which is like bold. God, classes is something that I haven't used in a long time. And then have font weight of 500, have the default of 400, then you don't need this because that runs off the default, right? And then this, if we change this to header text, this kind of makes more sense, right? Right? I think so. And that's all names. So this should kind of be exactly the same, apart from my name won't be in bold, right? Okay, cool. But now if I want my name to be in bold, I guess I could just have a span the class name of bold like this. And this is probably like a super ugly way of doing it, especially with this here. But I think we kind of need that, otherwise there's going to be a no space between this. What is this? Can't find name Joseph. What do you mean? Which now makes it bold. We need to push these away from each other, which I guess is what that space was there for. This little thing here, just to have like that natural space in there. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Now let's do this one, which I'm totally just going with it, and I'm just saying that we can just also put this in header text. We could just do, in fact, if we make header text not a span but a div, then we can just have another instance of header text which will automatically push it away from the other one, which means that when we have this sort of building the most loved journal, which is Jour, by the way, in here, then that's going to be the sort of right sort of colors and stuff, weight even, and then it does have some gap between it, but I think we could achieve that by just using line height. So if the font size is 20 pixels and we set the line height to like 24 pixels, does that push it away from each other a bit more? Right, let's do like 50 pixels just to see if this actually does anything. This is often what I do. Okay, cool. So it does something. So let's maybe push it a bit more. Do 26. I'd say even a bit more. I'd say maybe 30. Maybe 30. That looks fun. That looks great to me. And then which part of this is a link? I'm guessing it's most loved journal. Yeah, cool. So this is going to be a link to, I guess, the App Store download, but for now I'm just going to make it link to the website, which, you know, little plug, is jour.com. Could have probably guessed that. And then that should have the same link styles as the other one. Cool. We don't have any hover stuff on this. Bobby, you're in the chat. If you want to hit me up with like a hover color, something like that, something to make these do something. Yes, I could make it display block and then use margin, but it's now a div, which is by default a display block. I don't need to use margin bottom because I can just use line height. I could use it. None is better than the other, honestly. This is like super basic level coding, so like you're never really going to hit much performance increases with using different sort of styles, unless you're talking about sort of things like using transform properties and stuff over translating like a margin top, because then you will get a much better performance increase. So we can see that Bobby is now here and he's changing the colors, which is great. We need to have this watch me code the site live, which is going to be a link to this video. So we're having like a sort of videoception sort of thing, because I'm assuming the YouTube link after this is not live anymore, is going to be to the video of this. So let's hope that's the case. By the way, if you haven't had Disaronno before, it's a lovely, lovely alcoholic beverage, which goes great with Coke. It just tastes like cherry Coke. If you've ever had cherry Coke before, then you'll like Disaronno and Coke. It's like 28%, but it tastes like no percent, which is just fun. Right, what were we doing? We were making this watch me code thing. Right, now this is where we will need some margin top, right? Just thinking about what the best way to do that is. Okay, well, I guess we could just pass in a prop, which is what we can do with styled components, which is quite nice. They work with just like React components, but they basically take a div and turn it into like a styled React component. So if we have a div prop of top and have it as a number, so like, let's actually just get the right value here. Why aren't these showing up? 32 pixels. So if we have like a top of 32, at the moment this is red because TypeScript is like yelling at me. So I need to go into this header text. I need to say that that is actually a prop that it can have. So top is going to be a number, and I guess it's optional because it may not exist because the other ones don't need it. And then we have a margin top, and then we can say props.top or 0 pixels, right? That makes sense. So the ones that don't have anything will just kind of default to 0. This will have a 32 pixels top. It's going to say the same text as above, but we're kind of just looking for this gap here, which we've got, which is great. So now we just have this watch me code my site live, which is going to be the link that I have. Watch me code, is it my site or this site? My site, code my site live, lib. And then the link is going to be the same as we have on the index. Here, right? I think that's right. So we have this big link here. Woo! As far as link goes, that's actually not a big link at all. Cool. Now that is going to link to this video here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little red dot here, which I could make in CSS, but maybe for the hover states on links, you can make the underline move closer to the text. So no color change. Lovely. Thank you for adding that to my things I need to do today. Yeah, I could make this into a you don't need, I can do this stuff, I'm sure about it, right? So we just take this, we take this outline, we right click and we click outline stroke, which makes the outline. We click these and we put them together, making it a union of the two, and it's the correct shape, right? That's how we do it, I'm pretty sure. Record live button. It's not a button. Live icon, and we'll export this as an SVG. I could make it out of CSS, but truthfully, like, just don't really need to. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just pop this as just like an image in front of here. So it will go to images, live. Did I call it icon? Yeah, I think I did. Here. And then that should just pop in. Great. Did I do something wrong? Does this have to be like this? Maybe. maybe not. Jesus. Okay. We have this image. It's called... it's because when I export it, it exports in all these folders. Which, by the way, if you know how to stop doing that in Figma, that would be so great, because the amount of times I export something, then it ends up being in all of these folders, and I just have to pull it out and then delete the folder. Whew! Would save me some time. Right. So that's correct. Thing is, it's not exactly a line center or anything, which is kind of annoying. But there's nothing in this header text which needs to be below each other, because whenever we want to put things below each other, we put it in another instance of the header text. So what that means is we could make this a flex direction row with the display of flex, and then this will allow us to do align items center, which will then center that into the sort of middle of the text. So now it's like aligned with the text. Then we just need to push this away. So we can just have this image 8 pixels away. And right now, and I think like forever probably, it's going to be the only image inside this header text component. So I think it's fine just to do this, you know, margin right for like 8 pixels. I think this is fine. I think anyone who's complaining at me for doing this is nitpicking. Cool, that pushes it away. Right, so what we're gonna do, almost missed that space, it's here. I think we need to do this thing, because it will basically, when it compiles it, well, that's no fun. Why? Okay, it's also here. It's because it's display flex now, right? Flex direction row is the default as far as I know. Yeah, it is. The reason why I'm sort of so used to using flex direction row is because on React Native, column is the default. So I'm just so used to being like, oh, let's make it a row. Not used to that being the default, but good shout out. That is definitely the default. We can remove that. But we do need to push these links away, because now the space isn't really taking into consideration, because the flexbox is overwriting that. So let's just have like a, I don't know, how big's the space? Like 5 pixels? That looks about right. The only annoying thing is that the link on the other one is at the start of the sentence. We don't want that. We don't want that. But what we could do is do margin right 5 pixels, which is fine. It's honestly fine. And then because it's already got a margin left of 5 pixels, we can just take 5 from 8. 3. Yep. Had to check that. Which is kind of looking right. Yeah, that top header section, that looks right. The background is kind of animating. It's kind of cool. So we're going to push this. So let's say added header and background. Okay, so now that should be pushed, and that should go live on jsmth.co. So you guys can check that out. Let me know if any of the links aren't working. By saying that, I'm making you click on my links, so thank you. Right, let's catch up with some chat. Complaining, flex direction row. Hi Max, how you doing? Hope you're having a good weekend. Is the default? Yep, got there. Don't you realize that you wrote it as what instead to watch? God damn it. No, I did not realize that. But thank you, because what me code does not make sense, and watch me code certainly does. So fixed typo. It's not really a typo, it's just I spelt the thing wrong. Cool. Now what I want to do is have this big old text in the middle, and if you notice something, This here is the right font size and stuff, which is helpful, I know, but we're going to be using this library here, React Typist. Haven't used it before, literally no idea if it's going to work or not, but it kind of looks like it works quite nicely. If we refresh, you can see that you kind of have all of these typing out, and you can use backspace and stuff, because the idea is we're going to be I build scalable apps with Node, and then backspace to like I build, and then it will replace with like I build high performant apps with React Native. Maybe I'll change this. Maybe this should be like I build scalable servers with Node. We'll move this. And then it'll be like I build high performance apps with React Native, and then it'll be like I build beautiful products with React, or beautiful web products with React. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm going to put there yet. But before we get there, we're going to need to have this in the center. Now, yes, there are ways we can do this super easily with position absolute and just pop it in the center with left 50% and translate x minus 50%. Super easy, right? But we could just use a flexbox, because we have like a 3-portion layout here. So like this is the top, this is the middle, and this is the bottom. We always want this to be at the bottom. We always want this to be in the middle. We always want this to be at the top. So with that, we can use flexbox. Fairly simple, right? Fairly simple. I think, I hope. Otherwise, this is going to take longer than expected. So we have this container. This in this layout, we have this container here. So this is currently not a display flex. So let's have display flex. That's not what I typed, is it? And then have flex direction column, because column isn't the default. The default is row. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that should now put things in a column. So what would happen if we have this title, which we do, right? We kind of have this already laid out. We kind of have the header, we kind of have the title. I don't know if this head, like the next head component, is going to mess with that at all. I hope not, but I can just pull that out, I guess. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be there. Right. So now on this title, which I have in my components here, and it's super simple. It just takes the children, pops it in a styled head one, and that's it. But if we kind of have this in like a title container, something like this, we could apply this style to the head one. Honestly, don't know why I'm not doing that, but I started this way now, and that's the way I'm going to do it. Export const styled, and I guess this is just going to be a div. And what we want to do here, what if you add a logo to your header? Well, I will tackle that when I get to it, right? A developer's job is able to take anything that's thrown at it from a designer and just be like, yeah, that's fine. I can throw that in, it's fine. No, it's not. It's not my job. I don't like doing that. Don't throw anything at me, Bobby. Right, so this has to be like a flex one, right? We want it to take up as much space as it can take up, which I don't think we'll see any of this now, because it's going to be aligned to the top of that flex one component. But flex one basically means it's going to take up all of the space that it can do. And I'm assuming, and I'm assuming that worked, right? Because head ones aren't, or like divs, aren't normally taking up the full height, and that is definitely taking up the full height. And then what happens here is that if there's a footer here, then it's just going to take up the space between like the footer and itself. And then we can make this a flex box and have this align center and stuff. So if we have display flex and then align items center, and then justify content center, this should pop it into the center, right? Boom. And this will be in the center, but like in the center of the space between the bottom of this header and this footer, which I don't know. which I don't know if it's right. Will that make it right? Yeah, the only reason why it looks weird is because there's nothing on the bottom, so it's not in the middle of anything, right? This is like the top and the bottom instead of top middle. So once we put the footer in there, it should make more sense. But for now, we're going to try this React Typist. Excited to see how easy it is to implement. I kind of had a brief read. It looks like we just pop this component in. Thank you for telling me. I think it's basically my camera is overheating, which is always nice, right? Always nice. And I don't know if I need another camera. I don't know if it has like a timer. Maybe it's a camera setting. Hopefully it is, because then I can definitely fix that. And if it just goes completely blank and goes away somewhere, then I'm assuming it's going to be fine. Right. There are just some things I need to see. Okay, cool. It looks like our stream health is green, which is great. We've got 14 people watching, which is really great. And we're having a good time. And I've almost finished my drink, so it's almost time to pour another drink. Are any of you guys going to be drinking with me? And if you're under the age of 18 or 21, depending on where you are, then apple juice is just as cool as alcohol, I swear. It just doesn't do the same, that's all. Right, let's import this React Typist stuff. We need iTerm. So I'm using yarn because I prefer yarn. Kill me, I don't care. Let's see. We're just gonna import it and literally pop it around our head one and just see if this works. This is our title. Let's pop it in here. Let's literally just go boom and say boom. All right, we're gonna have to change this slightly because obviously we're gonna have to change what's written in here and we're gonna want to use the backspace feature. And I think if we want to use the backspace feature, then we have to do something here. Like we have to put in a span with the first sentence and then a backspace with the amount of characters you want it to remove with the delay of how long, I guess, after this has been typed out that this will be ran, and then you have the second span. Yes, it's not 15 people watching, it's 15 programmers. But we're all people. We're all people. Let's see if that worked, right? I mean, it might import typers from React typers. It's because it might not have any types on it. You think something called typist would have some types? I wonder if anyone's asked for TypeScript support, and if it's, I mean, I guess we could try it, right, first. So let's just do yarn add to the dev dependencies types and then do like React Typist and see if it exists. Maybe. Hey, looks like that exists fine, right? So this should, the little error should go away once it's loaded, assuming that it's the right one. Right, have you gone now? Yeah? No? Yeah? No? Yeah. Okay, so now that should compile, right? Ah, there you go, and it's writing out. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. I guess we want to slow this down. Slow this down a little bit. What we want between keystrokes, yeah, I think. Okay. Right, so you have standard typing delay and average typing delay. Let's change the average typing delay on this. I think it said the default was 70. So let's make this a bit slower at like 50 and just see how that looks. I don't know about you, it's just feeling a bit, am I changing the right thing? Am I changing the right thing? I mean, I guess maybe a start delay would kind of help, because then it's not typing out as soon as you get to the site. So maybe if we have like a 1 second before, so like you come to the site, and that 1 second, I think that makes it look a bit better. What happens if we just turn this down to like 10? Is it gonna be like faster? Because maybe I lowered it. Yeah, okay. So maybe this. Oh damn it! That makes so much more sense. Why would a less delay make it slower? I don't know, but maybe this looks better, right? Yeah, that looks more like a typing speed and not just some crazy ass dude. So I build scalable servers with Node. Yep, that's what we're gonna have. Right. Now I'm gonna think how we can do this in kind of a neat way. I want to, instead of maybe passing in children, and maybe pass in like an array of 3 different things. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Right, so we're gonna have like text array, or maybe I'll just do options, text options, and it's just gonna be an array of strings. And then basically in here, we want to do, if we take this text options, don't need these children, and we do text options dot map. So we map over each one of them, and we have this sort of string in here. Then we want to return basically a span of that string. But after every string, we also want it to have the backspace of how many characters. So maybe we can say like backspace chars equal to a number, and then we can have that component, which is this, where did it go? Which is backspace. Here we go. Typist dot backspace, and then we have the count. Cool. So let's do typist dot backspace count is going to be equal to backspace chars correct. We might want to delay. Yeah, we'll definitely want to delay. Maybe let's do like 2 seconds. Now this is not a single React component, so it's going to fail. So if we wrap it in like a React fragment, then I'm hoping that that will be fine. I'm hoping that doesn't affect things for the typist stuff. Right. Am I being naive to think that that's just going to work? Who knows? But first we need to change this title, because this is not going to work anymore. It's just going to be a single title, and then we're going to say, what did I call it? Text options, text options, yeah. And I'm going to just have this as an array at the top, just because easier, isn't it? So the first one is I build scalable servers with Node. Then the second one will be I build high performant apps with React Native. And then the last one, I mean, I guess I could have as many as I want, but I'm going to do 3. I build, what do I build? Beautiful. If anyone else like uses that to spell beautiful, let me know, because, and I really hope I spelled that right. I'm dyslexic, by the way, so not that it's an excuse. I should be able to spell things right. I type things enough, but English is kind of annoying. Not that it's my second language or anything. I am an English person. So just useless excuses, I know. I build beautiful web products, maybe in React. And like, I'm only putting this stuff because it's like the main stuff I do nowadays. Started out with PHP, and obviously I do Vue and Angular and Flutter and a little bit of Swift, but like, I feel like if you look at my experience, which is like 11 years, and then see that I do Node and React, you kind of assume that I also do a bunch of other things, right? So I'm just going to pop this in here. Now, instead of writing like text options is equal to text options, I always find that being a bit like annoying. So I always just do like this, where we deconstruct like an array and that an object even, and that object is just an object containing text options. And obviously we could do have the same thing here, but because it's an object, we can shorten this by just doing this. And then that kind of means that we don't have to repeat ourselves too much. The reason why this is red is because it's missing the backspace chars. That's the one. So I'm guessing this is just going to be the length to, this is a good point actually. We don't need the iBuild stuff, right? Because, yeah. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we just have remove this from the first one as well. Then we call this like const backspace 2. So it's going to backspace 2 this string. We're going to have this here. Then we can just like append this onto the first item. If we use backticks, then we can do this cool little whoop. And then we can just do this backspace 2. And we don't need a space here because it's included here. But now we have this, we can just make this the length of that string, which will be the amount of characters. Or is it the amount of characters that you need to backspace from the string? I don't know. It would make sense if it's like the amount of characters you want left, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I reckon it's not gonna be that, you know. I guess we can see if this is gonna kind of work, right? Make the iBuild constant and backspace only the other stuff. Is that what I just did? So now it's gonna, why does it, why? Is it erroring? Is it erroring? Well, yes, it is. Okay, can I avert a symbol value to a string? A symbol value to a string. Weird. Okay, so it's not that issue. I think the annoying thing is, is that it's going to be the amount of text until the iBuild, which is kind of fun, right? Because it means that we have to basically look for this string in the... I guess for the first one, it's only going to be equal to this length here, because the other ones are going to be equal to the length of like the entire string. So maybe we don't even need to do this. We can just have this. We don't even need this, is what I'm thinking. Now bear with, because maybe completely and utterly wrong, but I'm just going to simplify this up a little bit. And I'm going to just use like 8 for an example. I'm not going to actually expect that to go anywhere. Does this work? Because if not, then I don't know. Things are going slow on my computer. Got another error. Cannot convert a symbol to a string. That's annoying. That's really annoying. I mean, I guess I don't have. I could just type this out, right? I could just type this out. It's not gonna be the worst thing in the world. Let's just like take one last look at their docs and see if I'm missing anything, which I don't think I am. It's kind of annoying. Kind of wanted that to work really well. Don't we all? So now if I just make this like iBuild scalable servers in Node, and like if I'm missing something, please let me know, but like I expected that to work. I'm assuming it's because it's like trying to map over an array and it's like not that simple. So now we have this iBuild scalable servers in Node, and then we basically just want to backspace this like, okay, that's kind of annoying. We want to backspace this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, 24. And then I'm still hitting like 30 frames per second on my stream, so things are looking good. Then we need this to be, alright, I'm just gonna take this. I've already written this stuff out. Why am I? Which is, it kind of annoys me. It doesn't make this component reusable for if I want to change these sentences, I have to like actually work this out. But I'm also not that bothered. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Now, who knows if this is actually correct? And I'm assuming like you probably could find a way to map that out and make it a bit better, but I just kind of very wary that I don't want to waste this stream too much on sort of like worrying about things like that, because it's the sort of thing like normally I'd take that as like a as like a really annoying thing, basically work with it until it works how I want to do it, or remake the component so that like it works exactly how I expect it to. But like I'm not going to be on here for hours. Let's see what this person says. Put the strings in array and then backspace string dot length. That's what I tried. That's what I tried. I tried that, and yeah. Maybe I'm being an idiot. I don't know. It's not unlikely that that's the case. Right. So why? Here we go. Right, so now let's just go see I build scalable servers in Node, and then it's going to backspace after 2 seconds. And I build high performance apps with React Native. Cool. And then it's going to backspace. All of this shit. Okay, that kind of works fine for now, right? That's kind of what we expected. I mean, I know it's not exactly the most scalable component in the world, but like, you know, we also, how long have we been streaming for? An hour and 20 minutes. An hour and 20 minutes, and we've got like this. I don't want to spend ages worrying about making that specific part massively scalable. It doesn't have to be. Not for this. I mean, I'm thinking about doing other streams after this. Not like today, but maybe sort of next weekend. We can sort of take this background component, morph it via SVGs and sort of work on like a bit more of a performant way to do that, instead of just like a filter 100 pixel blur on an SVG, moving it and translating it across the screen. There's definitely a better way to do that. How often do you stream? I don't really use this YouTube channel very much, and people that are watching probably know that. I think it's been about like a few years since my last video, and then maybe like 8 years or so before I started like uploading regularly. I find it really hard to have time, but mainly because I'm sort of getting used to using my weekends for just sort of like gardening or stuff that's not involving a computer, because full time. Well, I'm pushing the code to GitHub now. I think it's on a private repository, but there's literally no reason for it to be private. So I guess I could just make that public now. Let's see. Repositories. This one. And yeah, so this is the repo that I'm sort of working in now. I think it's private. Yeah, private. How can we edit? How can we? It's gonna be in settings, and it's gonna be like a dangerous setting that you have to. You can definitely make this not public, right? Make public. Yeah, okay. Cool. I'm not going to type my password in here because... oh, it's not even typing my password. Alright, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's just typing the repo name. Don't worry. And I already have one that's called personal. That's why I did v2. Didn't want to delete it just in case this all went to crap, and then basically I couldn't revert it back to how it was. So I'm just going to make this public. Yeah, I saw a channel out of nowhere in my subscriptions and was wondering when I subscribed. Maybe last year. Yeah, to be fair, I do need to put in my password. All right, let's do this over here so I can keep it safe. Right, that should be public, and that should live on a link somewhere here. This link up here, I don't know if you can see that link. Maybe I'll post it in here. Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of people don't remember when they subscribe to me, and that's totally fine. Like, I expect most of my subscribers on YouTube to be inactive subscribers, 100%. Like, I know that I kind of, not necessarily forgot about this channel, but just, you know, it's hard to keep up a YouTube channel when you're working full time. And that's mainly because I pride myself on, like, the good tutorials that I used to produce, and I used to record a video without any audio, and then I used to voice over, and then, you know, timings would be off. I'd have to end up redoing the video sort of like 3 or 4 times, and then it's like taking like 5 hours to do like a 20-minute video, and, you know, that's just not what I want to do on weekends anymore. But live streaming seems to be the way forward, because like I can code and I can chat and I can have a drink and I can chill out, and it's like, it's fun, right? So I'm hoping to do this a lot more often, so stay subscribed. Did that work? Hopefully. And if I don't stream very often, then just unsubscribe, honestly. It literally doesn't bother me, but I am having fun. So let's see. We have this. Maybe we should push this. Maybe we should push this, because we have this git commit added typist component. And we could even do a live stream, which would be sort of recreating this typist component, but making it sort of a little bit better. I noticed that it's a little bit laggy in places. It doesn't look perfectly smooth, and I think that the integration with the backspace could be better, in that we could just provide it with the string that you want to backspace it to, or even the length of characters that you want left in the string. And I think that makes more sense than having the amount of backspacing being the amount of backspacing characters, just because this is always going to be changing, right? Especially if you're using it for this specific use. Maybe it makes more sense for other uses. I don't know. Cool. So that's that bit done. Right. There's a few things that I wanted to do with this section. Cool. Yeah. Open up a PR. See if you can make the component a little bit more scalable, so you can pass in like an array of strings, and maybe even like just like a string of what you want left after each array iteration, like before the backspace. Maybe not. Have a play around, see what you like. Feel free to link it in the chat when you're done, and everyone go and check it out, because like I'm sure that someone can do a much better job when they have some more time and they're not trying to do a lot of other things at once. Right. Now let's try and explain this bit. So we have these custom cursors going around, right? And the idea is that you kind of had this box which kind of follows you around. It's going to have like a default messaging, like it will always sort of say like hello or something like that in it while you're going around the site. And then when you hover over certain things like my ear or my eye, it's going to sort of change to some sort of like funny, quirky little message. And obviously we can have like some little shout outs to Bobby. And then these like logos on the laptop, I think they would be quite cool if they were clickable. This would take you to Jour, and this would take you to my GitHub. And then I'm thinking when you hover over these logos, this sort of like gradient, which is over my face, this little thing here, I don't know if this makes it easier to see. Yeah, this little thing here, I'm thinking about that gradient changing depending on what one you're hovering over. So it's as if the laptop screen is like changing to that page, if that kind of makes sense. So I think the first thing we're going to do is try and make this sort of cursor box. So basically we just need a box which follows this cursor around, which isn't the hardest thing in the world to do. We can do that quite easily. I hope. Now that I've said that. The other thing we need to do is basically need to make like some sort of global state where we can have this messaging. And I'm not going to bother with Redux or anything like that. I'm probably just going to use like a use context and a use reducer with the React hooks and sort of have that, because is literally going to be the only thing in my state. So I'm not going to worry too much about Redux or anything like that. And yeah, I could use like an event emitter to change like some state, which might be an easier way, but I would normally find with event emitters it's quite hard sometimes to notice when things are causing sort of like a memory leak or something if you don't close it when you unmount the component. But maybe that's just like, maybe that's a ton easier. Maybe that's a ton easier. We'll see. How many people are viewing? 15 people? 16 people? How's everyone doing? How are they finding quarantine? I don't know if you guys know or are in the UK, but I think we're lifting some of the isolation rules tomorrow. I think it's super basic. I think basically some shops are going to be reopening. Not much is changing, but that's a good thing, right? We don't want it to be lifted too soon and then have to worry about it. So I take your time. English government, please. How long have I been programming? 11 years. So I started out when I was 14 doing some really basic stuff, as everyone does when they started. And I think like even before that, when I was sort of like 12, I had websites, but they were sort of made using sort of like website builders, and sort of like drag and drop sort of Flash website builders, and that kind of made me want to make custom websites. I think I was like making it for my school band that I was in, because I was one of them kids that was like lead guitarist in a school band when he was like 12, and I wanted a website, so I think it started out like that. And I picked up HTML at 14, and then sort of like the marquee tag where like text could move across the screen. I was like, this is some cool shit. And that got me hooked. And then basically since then I've been sort of self-teaching myself everything that I know now, which I get that there may be some gaps in my knowledge because, self-taught, but I've had the opportunity to sort of work with some really talented designers, developers, and some really big companies, and through that have met like a lot of people which have sort of taught me or like showed me things I didn't know, and so thankful for everyone that I've met along the way, and I've been incredibly lucky with my career, and actually not a lot of people can survive doing freelance stuff. They find it hard to sort of find a client, and I was able to not only survive freelance for years, but also use my portfolio to get into startups, and then eventually got me hired as the lead developer at Jour, which is doing really well. So I'm lucky, but it's not like this for everyone, but it's definitely like the funnest job in the world, right? Any other developer out there, like just making something from nothing is just like, can't really beat it. Thank you. Yeah, my portfolio is massive, but like the thing is most of the things don't exist anymore, which is kind of annoying because like there would also be like personal projects, and I'm guessing if any of you guys have like subscribed from like the Helping Develop days when I used to make Helping Develop, I think that website got recoded about like 8 times, and it probably pissed everyone off, but like during that time I was learning so many things that I was basically having to recode things, because by the time I finished it I was like, I can do this so much better, so just redid it, and it was never really live because I just kept doing that. Nowadays I can finish a project, but yeah, often it just, like as you say, it just gets ditched from my portfolio because normally I'm doing a personal project to sort of like test out an idea, or if like I think it's like a really great idea, then I'll use it to sort of like have like a simple subscription model and just hope that people subscribe. But if it doesn't work out, I normally just ditch it, and like that's totally fine. I think every developer has projects in the past which like are just unforgotten, and I have like about like 30 domain names because every project has like 5 domain names that you need to pick from, and then you just buy them because it's like, well, it might not be available tomorrow. So I got tons. Um, yeah, and luckily I think I started 17 years old. I was a sort of lead front end developer in my first startup. We got that in London, and yeah, it was really fun. Had to tell my mum that I was a camera thing. Don't need to tell me. Had to tell my mum that I was dropping out of college and going to work full time, which she found quite quite hard to take at first, but she like never stopped me from doing it, which was I'm really lucky for. I know a lot of parents are kind of like stay in school, but for me, I found that like, so if you're like and I wanted to be an ICT teacher, right? But like, if you go to school and you learn computers, then you go to university and you learn development or teaching or whatever, it's been about like 7 years, and then you're in school, right? Or maybe less than that. It's been like 4 years, let's say. And then you're in school, but already the web has moved forward 4 years and you're teaching stuff that's 4 years old. So if you're learning this stuff in school, unless it's like super up to date, then it's going to be hard, right? It's much easier, and you can learn 10 times the amount like in one day at home than you can in like a week. Because also in a classroom, you've got to consider everyone that might not be picking things up as fast as you and things like that. So yeah, dropped out of college. It was fun. We're talking way back in the days on this stream. I love it. Yeah, me and Bobby actually, like, I don't even know how long we've been friends. I mean, I'm thinking it's like around the 8-year mark, which is ridiculous. And we met through a client, and we just sort of like linked and just started bonding. And since then, you know, we've both been super lucky. And hopefully, I can't imagine I would. I'm never going to take that for granted. Most of the engineers I'm friends with aren't good enough to get on web dev and app. I mean, yeah, I don't know what makes people a good developer, because for me, like, I'm not necessarily like a super intelligent in maths or anything like that, or like I don't think that I have like a ideal brain for problem solving or anything like that. And it probably takes me a little bit longer to learn things than other people. But like, you know, I enjoy it so much that like every time that I have some free time, it's like, I'm going to learn something new because it's fun, right? Who doesn't like learning something new? It kind of hypes them up. I mean, how many of you have kind of been sitting in your room and then you get like an idea and it starts working out and you're like getting hyped off of this idea and you just end up staying up till like 4 a.m., which by the way is not the time, which is good. And yeah, you just like go on for hours, and that's what I love about coding. But I think we're kind of off topic now. I haven't even touched this sort of cursor thing. So as nice as it is talking about the past and how it came to be, I need to have another drink and get this cursor thing going along where it's going to move around. By the way, do you think there's any way I can improve these streams? Like, I don't know. Let's switch to this. I guess I could get some better lighting in here. That's always possible. I do actually have some like big photography lights up in this wardrobe, but they take so long to set up and put down that I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I think the cool thing about coding is that it's interesting to everyone, right? Whoever, even if you don't know what it is. I've always found that, and I always used to think that like introducing to myself at like a cool party when my friends were getting drunk and I was like, I'm a developer, ooh. And it kind of felt a bit nerdy, but like everyone finds it so interesting, and I think the kind of nerd aspect around it has kind of been overplayed a bit. It's cool to make stuff from nothing, and I think if anyone like doubts that, they're an idiot. Everyone wants to be able to just make something out of nothing, and that's all you can do. Like, you just type a few keys on your keyboard and you make like an app. It's cool, and everyone knows it. You know, my brothers and stuff, they're like, I don't understand how you can type a keyboard and earn money from it, but like just lucky to be brought up in that sort of generation and around the sort of time that it was booming. And I wasn't even around in like the sort of domain era when everyone was buying .coms and Facebook was becoming massive and all of this stuff. I was after that, but even then, still sort of managed to ride the hype train. Right. Let's refill my drink and then get back to coding, where we're going to make this box follow our mouse around. And there's like a mouse move event, right, that you can listen to on the document, I'm pretty sure. Let's try it out. So, change back to screen. Right. So I'm thinking that this cursor follow thing is going to be its own component. So I did not mean to scroll you. Let's go. Right, so I'm going to have did not mean to do that. New folder called like cursor box, something like that. Index.tsx. Import React from React. Const cursor box is a React functional component. And damn, what does it even return? I guess it can return the box, right? Which is going to be like a styled box, we'll call it. And at the moment we'll just have some static text in there. And then this is what's going to be floating around the screen. And then export default cursor box. This style box doesn't exist, so we need to import it from a page that doesn't exist yet, which is going to be styles, which is in the current directory. So if we make this and then import styled from styled component entities, and then we export the const of styled box, which is just going to be a div, but obviously it needs to be position absolute, and then we'll just put it in the top left for now. Like it can start wherever basically, because it's going to be following the cursor, so it's going to be moving around. Let's put it there. Let's make the Z index. Reminds me of when I used to do things like Z index, like 999 million. But it basically just needs to be one higher than whatever the content is. And I can't remember if I even put anything on the content. I guess it would be under here. Z index of 2. Yeah, okay. So it basically needs to be like a Z index of 3. So it's just above the content of all times. I guess we should add like a width of like 100. Maybe 100 is a bit too much, like 40 pixels, 50 pixels, height of like 20 pixels, and then let's just have like a background of like a solid boring ass red for now, because then this will kind of give us a box on the screen that we can play around with. So now that should be exported from this styled box, export from styles, did I spell it right? STY, yeah, styles. This why I'm missing the from. Cool. So now that if we import this, I think we're just going to import this on the layout, right? Because it wants to be on every page, and that's all the similar sort of thing we're doing with our blobs. We can just put in our cursor box and automatically import that. Now we should have like a position absolute top left red box on the screen. I'm just sort of waiting for these lines to go away because they annoy me. So yeah, now we have this box on the screen which just has like hello. And I guess like instead of having like a width and height, we should just use padding. So let's zoom right in, and I feel like this thing is like heavy. Is how slow it's moving, but my laptop's probably working hard. Whoa, come back, right. So come on. Right, so this is a font size 10 medium, and it has like a padding of something that may not be visible because I think it's red in font on thing. Totally visible. 2 and 4. So 4 on the X and 2 on the Y. So instead of having this width and height, let's do padding 2 pixels, 4 pixels. and then have the font size 10 pixels, and the font weight is going to be that medium, which is 500. And let's kind of just, you know, force it to be black. I know it's black by default, but you know, doesn't hurt to force it. So now, like, at least it's staying in this box. Now we want this box to be following us around. Is this how a website is born? I mean, to like a high level. I mean, maybe not a high level, but like, yeah. Basically, a website has HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Normally, JavaScript, it doesn't need JavaScript. HTML you can think of, right? So say if you're like building a house, right? You're building a massive house or a small house. It doesn't matter the size of the house. It can be any size. Just like an app could be a big app or a small app. Think of HTML as like the scaffolding or like the brick walls, sort of like the foundations and sort of like how things are laid out and structured. And think of CSS as sort of like the paint job, like, you know, styles, how you want things to look. So HTML is hypertext markup language, and CSS is cascading style sheets, and they're kind of self-explanatory. Those two languages together, you can make basically any website that's out there. The fun thing is when you add in JavaScript, because JavaScript is like, what can we use JavaScript as like a building reference? I guess like electricity or like wiring. It kind of allows you to be like, right, when you click this button, let's drop down loads of things and animate all of these fun things. And I mean, you can do animations in CSS, but like JavaScript just makes things a little bit more reactive and just like fun. And you can do JavaScript. You can use JavaScript for a lot of things. Like you can use JavaScript to make native apps, which are normally written in like Swift and stuff. And you can use JavaScript on the back end, which like from before was sort of like PHP or like Ruby territory, and JavaScript never really touched the back end. But now with like Node, you can just learn JavaScript and learn and know like basically how to make the whole web architecture, which is really cool. Really cool. As a designer, everything became easier when I learned CSS and HTML in depth. And just now I'm diving into JavaScript. Yep, I think it makes everything a lot easier. Definitely. I mean, I'm no designer. That's why I kind of had my friend design this for me. I find it really hard to kind of get somewhere that I like because I'm quite picky with everything, and I just don't know that much about design to kind of get somewhere where I'm happy with. But knowing HTML and CSS definitely makes me a better designer, so I'm guessing it works both ways. So I'm guessing, I think everyone should learn code, right? No matter if you're a designer or anything, at least HTML and CSS. Like everyone should be able to make their own personal site, right? It's just like, why wouldn't you? And I mean, if you want to do loads of really complicated things and you want to have like a dynamic portfolio and you don't want to have to worry about setting up databases and stuff like that, then like use Squarespace or use like WordPress and just make like a custom HTML CSS template for them, and have fun that way, you know? So, right, let's make this little box move around with us. So how do we do this? This is a good question. So basically we want to update the transform properties and the translate X and Y to be equal to the mouse's position. So first we need to get the mouse's position. For that we can do use effect, which is a lifecycle event or a hook. And this is basically going to be ran on when this component is mounted, and that's why this array is empty. This is basically an array that listens for any sort of changing objects. So say if we had like a variable here, and this is like equal to like a state or something, and then if we say we put this variable in this array here, then basically what this says is this function is going to be ran every time this changes or this updates, which is really cool. But if you want to just run it once when this component is mounted, then you can just leave this empty. And then if you return a function, then this is what's going to be ran when this component is unmounted. So if you're used to React and you use sort of component did mount and component did unmount, this is basically that. It's just using hooks to do the same thing, which I think is slightly nicer. So let's do, so basically you want to add a listener on the mouse move. So if we do document.add event listener mouse move, and then it's going to be equal to like a handler. So we need to have a function. We'll just call it on mouse move. Call it whatever you want. I don't care. And we need to make this function. So let's do on mouse move is equal to just a function for now. This is written in TypeScript, so we're going to have to do some typing here. But basically we want to now stop listening when this component gets unmounted, because there's no point in continuing on that listener, and that's how you kind of get memory leaks down the line. So we can just do remove event listener, and you basically just write in the same stuff. So you do like mouse move, and then you pass in the handler so that it has like an instance of the function to know what to cancel. So pow, this will track it, all that stuff, and then passes in like an event automatically to this function. And then this event is actually, I think it's like mouse event is how you type it, mouse event, like so. And that basically just tells TypeScript that this event is expected to be a mouse event because it's coming from the event listener of mouse move, and that will kind of give us some helpful typings when we're typing it out, so we don't get things wrong. So now we need to have like the X and Y position of the mouse. So I think you can get this on just the event. So if we do E dot, does it give us any? Great, it doesn't give us any typing. Sometimes VS Code like takes a while to load in a type, and it's like just a bit sort of slow, especially when I'm streaming. I think that's the main issue here. But I'm pretty sure it's like page X and page Y is the X and Y. So I think if we do const page X, page Y is equal to E, right? Does that make sense? But basically this is destructurizing this array of, it's called event. That's why nothing came up, right? When I typed in E. So if we do this, yeah, we can see loads of things here. And we should see that this also has page X and page Y. So I could say like const page X is equal to event.pageX, but this is basically just taking these variables out of this object and being like, let's throw these into a const and name it the same as that, because that's just the easier thing to do, right? So now we have this, like if we console.log this page X and Y, we should see this changing, right? So let's take this, yeah, we've definitely included it. So this isn't going to be moving around the page right now, but if we check out the console, we should see that we're getting like a bunch of console logs. Come on, computer, you can do this. I don't know if you can hear it underneath the music, but my computer is like heating up and going through mad fans right now. So yeah, you can see we've got like basically the X and Y of the cursor, and it's a bit laggy right now, but like it won't be laggy on your end. Definitely won't be. It's just laggy because I'm recording and streaming. So let's take those values, and we basically need to say this needs to have a transform X and Y of those values. So how we need to do that is we need to have a reference to this. Because this is inserted into the DOM down the line, and it's not just in the HTML, it'd be easy if this was in the HTML and you could just do like ID and then do like document.getID, get element ID and all of that stuff. But I'm pretty sure with especially styled components, the things like IDs and stuff, they change during the render. They might not, and you might be able to do this, but either way, a better way to do this is to have a use ref. Is that what it's called? Yeah, use ref. Why is your laptop struggling so much with only a couple of things open? The streaming is super resource heavy. Yeah, basically it's really hard to stream on 5K monitors, and it's really frustrating. Basically I have to downscale this to 1080p, and because otherwise the stream service is streaming this down to 1080p and then scaling it back up. Something weird like that. I was doing some research. So I've kind of got this screen here to be as close to 1080p as it can be, but it's still having to downscale, which is why, and I have got an external like graphics GPU, which helps out a lot, which is probably why I'm hitting like a solid 30 frames per second, hopefully. But it's still having to downscale and upload a 720p, or is it 1080p? I think it might be 1080p video at the same time. So yeah, it's just I'm also running two 5K monitors, Like, so yeah, my laptop's probably going to be taking off a bit with like a local host running and all of these console logs going on. So you could be taken off for that reason. But we need to have a reference to this sort of start box. So let's say like box ref, and we'll say use ref, right? This use ref is fine, right? Ah, we haven't imported. Now we're gonna have to type this to be like HTML div element. We can do that, right? And then basically if we set this ref to be box ref, then the current ref of this is going to be equal to this div. So now we can say like if box ref dot current exists, then this is successfully connected the reference to here. And then we can do something like box ref, and yeah, might have to excuse me for a bit because I think I have forgotten, is it set attribute? I haven't done like literally like raw JavaScript, which is what this is. You don't need to be doing this in React and stuff, and you could have like a state which updates, but like I don't want to have to update the state and have to reload the component and all of that stuff. So I'm going to be using this set attribute, which is just raw JavaScript, and basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to set the attribute on this div element. We can set the style attribute to be equal to, and we're basically going to be throwing in the transform, translate X and Y with this page stuff here. That makes sense? So if we type in transform and then translate, it used to be the case that if you use translate 3D, then it would use the like GPU on your computer. I'm just going to be using translate. I was like, as I said like 1,000 times, I'm not really worried about this being super optimized. Like if I was, then this would just be a crazy like 5-hour stream, and you know it's already hit 2 hours and we've only done it a little bit. So what am I doing? We're going to have page X and page Y. So page X, and yeah, we probably have to do pixels here. Do you commas separate things? I think you do. Page Y. It's weird me asking that question because like obviously like so much experience, you expect that for me to know this stuff, but you forget. Like it's like I haven't coded CSS because in so long, because like there was Sass that came around, and then there's like style components and it's like styles in JavaScript, and it's just like do so many cool things with that, then you're only using like a certain amount of basic CSS properties, and the rest like cool function like helper functions. I am using the Blackmagic external GPU, yes. Right, so this transform is going to translate this little box to the X and Y of the page. Makes sense? Makes sense. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to save it. I'm going to just assume that that will work. We don't need to have this Y. Why? No, it was just an old thingy. Okay, so this could also be null, right? So we could just put in like null. So it could also be null, which is why we have this if condition here to check that it exists, because when we're initializing it for the first time, we're not putting it in, right? I think that's, yeah, that seems to have got rid of the error. Right. Oh, the box moved. That's a good sign, right? So this box is now moving with us, right? It's a little bit laggy for you guys probably, but like on the website, it's gonna be a little bit better. Now I don't know, should I use like use context and use reducer to make like a hook basic, super basic like Redux like storage for like a global storage without you having to use Redux and all that crap, because it's literally only going to be changing the string that's in here depending on what we're hovering on. Or I could use like event emitters and have this in a state, and then on the event emit just update the state, which could be just as efficient. I don't know. First thing I'm going to change is like this X and Y doesn't have to be exactly on the mouse because obviously we can't read the words. So I think we're going to just add sort of 10 to this. 10, 10, 10, 10. Which kind of makes it like a little bit off center. Well, 10 pixels top and bottom, which makes it pull it away a little bit so we can actually see it. I don't know where my cursor's gone. Like, it's kind of weird. With my computer acting so slow, it's like it takes ages for things to kind of render. Right. We have this. It's working pretty well. It's going to be a lot smoother for you, for sure. I never poured myself a new drink, so I need to do that. Now that we have this, oh yeah, we're talking about using like a sort of shared state with like use reducer and use context. Totally fine. Could do that. Might do that. We could use sort of and then an event listener and then have sort of like emitting events, but you know, sometimes that can cause memory leaks if they're not unmounted when the component is unmounted. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe I don't worry about this now. Maybe I just make my face. I don't know. Let's save this, and then you guys can kind of go to my site and see if it's smoother, which it should be. It's only translate. I mean, we could just change this to translate 3D and then have the third one as 0 and see if that like helps with any rendering. I can remember reading that sort of used a different processor, like your graphics processor instead of your CPU to render that. But it doesn't look any difference to me, so I'll just commit that. Added cursor saw box. Okay, cool. So that should be pushed live and that will go out on like this jsmith.co fairly soon. This is my old site, by the way. I've just got it cached, so I have to like press like Command Shift and refresh to kind of get the new site. But this is what we have uploaded so far, which is quite cool. I think now we're gonna take this, what we have, we're gonna maybe add in this footer that we have here, and then maybe call it a day. Like I don't want to be streaming for hours. Like, I don't know, I kind of looked at this and I kind of expected it to take me like an hour, but then with drinking and talking and just fun to be having, it's taking more. So we have this emoji of me, right? Kind of looks a bit like me. You can see the resemblance. I wear a hat, so it's me, right? We're gonna just pop that in the center or the bottom of the page. We're not gonna worry about the laptop for now. Obviously we will do the laptop, but we're just gonna be putting that on a footer. So I guess you call it a footer. It's not really a footer, but it goes at the bottom of the page, so sue me, it's a footer. Import React from React, and then const footer is a React functional component, and then we do return, and then we basically just want to, maybe we'll put it in like a styled footer div so that we can just have it centered, and then we'll have image, and this will be images, and it's called like animoji.png. The annoying thing is I don't know what size this is. Did I export the ×2? Probably exported the ×2 as just that one. So maybe we'll set like a width and height on this. Ugh. Can we just take this width and height 244 by 249? So let's just pop this in here just in case that image is slightly bigger. I know it says width, don't worry. 249 width. Right, this styled footer doesn't exist, so just like with every other thing we've been doing, let's do import this from this. We need to make that, and then we need to import style from styled components, And then we need to export const that styled footer. And we can have it as a footer component. I'm pretty sure that just is for like search engines to kind of know what is at the bottom of your. To improve the performance, you should try using request animation frame. It will only update when the display refreshes, e.g. 60 times per second. Yeah, but I'm not updating any state. So the component doesn't refresh. It doesn't need to do the request animation frame. If I was updating a state with sort of like the X and Y of the mouse position in the state, and then that's how the styles will be getting rendered, camera's doing its thing again. Don't worry, I got it. Then I would do request animation frame rate. But because I'm not updating the frame and I'm just taking the event listener and I'm just basically applying it to the style of the translate, it should be fine. But yeah, there's tons and tons of things that I could do to this which will help improve the performance. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll have a stream every Sunday where I make my website a little bit better. I spoke about the animated gradients backgrounds. We can, instead of just moving some SVGs around and blurring them, we could actually take the SVG path and use D3 to morph the actual path of the D3 and make it like a morphing thing, and then blur it so it looks a little bit better and it's probably a little bit more performant. But we're not going to be worried about that in this stream because, you know, it's a long stream, 2 hours and 7 minutes. Jeez, I'm going to need to go to bed soon. I'm not. It's only like 9:30. We're good. Let's see. People mention me in their Instagram stories and Twitter. Great. Nice to see you guys are sort of sharing it. Right. What are we doing? We're going to have, this is going to be a display flex. Is flex row by default, unlike React Native where it's flex column. So we just need to do justify content center, which will push that image to the center. This is now right. Who knows? And let's go and pop you down here. Has that worked? Do I have a face at the bottom of my website? Do I not? Do I have an emoji? Do I not? I guess there's one way to find out. No, I do not. Can't find name for, oh, it didn't actually import when I pressed it to import for some reason. There we go. All right, let's try again. Do I have a face? Do I have an emoji? Yes, I do. And now this is like in the center of the screen, right? Which is what I was saying earlier. Like the reason why it wasn't in the center of the screen is because we had nothing down here to push it away. Cool. And then if I use like a use context and use reducer to make like a really simple shared state, and I can just dispatch an update to it when I hover over like a certain part on this image, which I can handle in this specific component for the footer, then I can just update this text like super easily depending on what it wants. I don't know if I'll do it on the stream. Maybe I'll do it on another stream. Maybe next week. Who knows? Maybe in the middle of the week and just after work. Who knows? Depends how much energy I feel after work. But don't think I'm going to do that this stream just because 2 hours and 9 minutes. I think I'm going to go back to talking for a bit, drinking for a bit, and then I might head off. I know that I haven't finished. I have to do this laptop, but maybe I don't have to do it today. So I can do these. It's gonna be cool, right? Like this blur is quite a cool idea. How basically when you hover over this GitHub logo, it will change to a different blur, and depending on if you're hovering over Jour or GitHub. So it's like the laptop screen is actually have that website open, and then it's reflecting it onto my face. It's quite a cool little thing. Maybe, I don't know. Let's talk. How are you guys doing? How's everyone doing? I'm gonna be committing that little emoji. Oh, and by the way, I haven't done any responsiveness. I don't even know if it's git commit and emoji git push, and then yeah. So let's switch back to you a second, and let's see just out of curiosity what happens if we do this. I mean, it's not the end, not not a huge deal, right? We could just censor the content when we get down to a certain media width, which would be super easy to do. And then just add some sort of padding. Yeah, it's going to be fine. We're going to be able to make this responsive in like no time. So we don't have to worry about that, especially in this stream, I'm going to say. Because it's getting late. I've got things to do. I need to get ready for work tomorrow. And all of that stuff. So now we're going to talk. I'm going to drink. How's everyone doing? We've had quite a lot of people. I didn't expect too many people. I really didn't. I mean, I've got 30,000 subscribers. Almost. I think I'm still at like 29.9. So, you know, if you want to give me a tweet and get me to 30,000, I'd like that. But, I mean, most of them are from like 8 years ago, right? So none of them are going to be active. It's cool, and I get monetization, and I get YouTube. I don't get very much, but like, it's cool, and I'm glad that I have this channel. I'm glad that I did it when I was really young, and hopefully now I might be able to have some more time on weekends to kind of make a live stream every now and again, do something fun. The only thing is, it's quite hard to think of ideas for a live stream, because like with music or something, you would have like a song list and you could just play the songs that people request. But with code and stuff, it's like you have to have an idea, and it's like you can't just ask someone, what should I make, because then I might not be able to do it. I might not be that good. So I like to have things lined up so I know I can do it and I don't make myself look like a fool. But no one's talking, which is sad, because we have viewers. No one's just talking. So if anyone wants to chat, it'd be great. I think I'm going to stop coding now, just because, like, I'm not drunk. I'm not. But streaming for 2 hours is just, I'm just done. And you know, maybe tomorrow after work, because like by the time I finish work at like 6-7 p.m. and that's sort of like time that people in America are sort of like having around for sort of, you know, watching. So maybe you could ask people about things they want to know how to do and demo it. Yeah, I could. But yeah, I definitely could. There's no but, I guess. I could do that. I'm in bed eating eggs. I'm guessing it's the morning for you, right? Because it's night here, so I just assume it's the morning for you. Let's try and guess. Like, what time is it? It's like 9:45 here. I want to say it's like 11 a.m. for you. That's okay. I don't need to thank me for streaming. It's been fun. Okay, 1:44 p.m. You're just in bed because you were playing Apex till a stupid time. I tried converting the typist thing to an array and I'm getting TypeScript errors. I don't know how to TypeScript. We'll try again after I learn it. Yeah, for sure. Don't worry about it too much. I mean, I could even next live stream make a component which is kind of like the typist component, but make it a little bit better. Warzone is where it's at now. To be honest, I haven't played PlayStation or anything for so long. I've been sort of doing my garden. I've got like quite a nice big vegetable patch in my garden. I've got like potatoes and parsnips and peas and carrots and all of these things growing, and it's just been really fun to kind of get out there while the weather's nice and plant some crops and wait for them to be harvestable and harvest them and cook with them, and I'm excited. That's what I've been doing. I haven't really been touching the PlayStation for a very long time, even though I have like an office set up with like a sofa and like a PlayStation in here. Sad, don't use it. See you later, man. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if there's anything I can do next time to make it more enjoyable for you guys. Maybe I can have a challenge, like every time I do something I have to drink a shot. Something that makes it more entertaining than just me rambling on about code. But thank you for joining. It's been fun. It's been nice to have viewers. Yeah, when's the next stream? I honestly don't know. Like, show us what you made. Okay, I'll go over like quickly. It's not finished at all. Let's see. So we're here. Okay, so I basically, let's refresh this so you get to see it typing out. I basically made this animated background gradient which kind of subtly moves around these gradients. I did it in a kind of hacky way. It's not really performant or anything, it just works for now. I've got this text string which just kind of like backspaces itself and then prints out a new string. And then I've basically just got these things where this will be linking to this video that you're watching now. This will obviously links to Jour, which is where I work full time as the lead developer. And then this is like just my Twitter handle. And I don't know why things scrolled. Ho ho, we're gonna. All right, let's just see how we can fix this super quickly, because I swear there was like an overflow hidden or something. But anyway, that's what I did. The background is an SVG, yeah, but I'm doing it in kind of like a really cheap way where I'm just taking the SVG, I'm using it as an image source, and I'm just translating it across the screen, and then I'm blurring it so that it's two SVGs and they're moving sort of like at different times, so it looks like it's morphing. But maybe in like another live stream on like another weekend, I can actually take the path of the SVG, use like D3 or some animation library in JavaScript and actually morph the path and then blur that, and that might actually be more performant than just using like a blur filter and translating that across the screen, because yeah, that could get pretty heavy, which might be why my laptop's taken off, I don't know. But like this stream wasn't anything to like do things like that with. It was just more of like, let's get the layout done and then we can have other streams which can like take each component and just make it like super performant or something for fun, who knows. There's a viewbox tool I can link you to with help of positioning the SVG. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool, because yeah, at the moment I'm just sort of translating it across, and I think that's basically what is causing this super long scroll, is because this is moving. So I'm gonna basically just fix this like super like hacky, super quickly by just in this layout. I can basically just have like this like layout component. Oh, I can't call it layout, we'll call it like styled layout. And then we'll import this from the styles, and then we'll basically just set overflow hidden on it. So, you know, call me a cheat, call me an easy way out, but like kind of just makes sense to just do this for now as I'm like leaving the stream, and I don't want it to be too messed up. So we can set like the width of like 100 view width, and then we can set like a min height, so it could increase in height if it wanted to, as like 100 view height. And then we can set like the overflow hidden, and that would just sort of like hide out that sort of animated SVG. But this is why I'm thinking it's going to be so much more performant once I have time to kind of like morph an actual SVG path, because it's not like moving this big image around. It's actually like, you know, morphing the thing, which would make a lot more sense. Is this fixed the overscroll? No, it hasn't. I don't know why. Right, what are people saying? Bobby, have you tried coding? I am learning JavaScript. I want to keep working on JavaScript first, and after 1 year, learn Node and React as an experienced developer. What are your opinion on it, please? Just drag the SVG in there and slide us for positioning. Okay, so about learning JavaScript for a year, then picking up Node and picking up React. Don't limit yourself to, or don't restrict yourself to saying like, oh, I have to do this for a year before I can touch this. Like if you're getting along really well with JavaScript, then picking up Node is like fine, right? Because Node is just JavaScript. It's just variables, and it's just mapping over things, and it's just like using a plugin like Express and then listening on a port, and then everything else is just routing in JavaScript. So like if you're getting really comfortable with JavaScript, pick up Node. And like I definitely did things way before I should have done them, but like, and failed like big time. But then like, you know, got like a million bugs and then learned how to fix each and every bug, so that when I kind of got them again, it was easier and I kind of knew how to prevent that. So yeah, I think things like that will definitely help you. So like don't not pick up Node because you think you have to know loads of JavaScript first. Like it definitely will help you. But like have a look at Node while you're learning JavaScript. See like how when you learn how variables work in JavaScript, how they will also work in Node, which is exactly the same. And pick up things that way. And it's okay to like copy people one for one on YouTube tutorials and just sort of like get used to it and stuff. It's how kind of most people do it. Um, and then yeah, you'll start doing it so many times that you'll know it yourself, and you'll be a natural. And anyone has the ability to code, which is what's cool about it. If we change this to max width, does this stop the overflow thing? Why is it overflowing? Is it because like this is overflowing? Do you know how I normally fix this stuff? Is like I normally just like throw things like some random colors and see like where this box ends, so we can see like this is going overflow, this is going overflow, this box down here, what is this? This is the cursor box, so this will be fine. It's just this, but this has like a max width and it has an overflow hidden, right? So like, why would it show the scroll? Am I being a douche? Right, let's see. I used to do a lot of front end, thanks to Joe for teaching me over the years, but thanks. But I haven't coded in about 2 years. Yeah, I find like that's probably like the same for most designers. Like they'll code a lot, especially when they're in the time where they're going through client work and they want to have a portfolio. When you get to the point where you're sort of either full-time or you're happy with your position and you're not necessarily looking for clients, like luckily I've got to, and you just want to have like a fun little site, you don't really need to code too much, right? You're full-time as design, so. But it's definitely fun, and you know, Bobby, you should pick it up and sort of try and play around with it, because it's fun. It's fun. I'm gonna kill myself if this if this isn't gonna be fixed before the stream. No, I'm not, obviously, but like, why does that not work? Am I being a fool? But like setting the max width to 100 view width, the viewport width, and then doing overflow hidden with these images restricted to them, like why would that make it scroll? Because that div ends. Overflow none? Maybe? No, I don't think so. I think hidden is the right one. But like, I'll try it. And if you're right, then thank you very, very, very much. But unfortunately, you weren't right. Yeah, I could do a width, but I'm pretty sure it's the same, right? 100% of the viewport width is the same as doing this. But like, I could do like a like width, and then make sure that the max width it can get to is 100%, and then do like overflow hidden, right? Surely that can't scroll past, right? Surely. But it does, because yeah, the SVG position is absolute, but it's within this container. Is in this styled layout basically, and this styled layout, maybe I should have a position relative so the absolutes are relative to this, but like it shouldn't really matter. It shouldn't really matter. But maybe that's the reason. Yeah, that was the reason. Just had to be relative. So thanks, Pete, for making me think about the position stuff relative to this. Another thing that really annoys me about this is basically when I go off this, my cursor is left like right there, and it's kind of annoying. I might make it so that when you kind of do mouse out of the window, this goes to opacity 0. I'm gonna do that super quick. I know I said I'd end this, but this is probably gonna take very, very short time, because I can just add like I think mouse out, mouse out. Give me some typing. Mouse. Is it mouse out? I think it's mouse out, right? I'm just going to go over it. On mouse out we will make a new function. Const on mouse, mouse, mouse out. That was far harder than it needed to be. We can basically just copy and paste this stuff here. And then we basically just change this to have a set attribute and set the opacity to be 0. And then when we have the mouse move, we basically just need to say, also set the opacity to 1. And then that should basically fix all of that stuff. We also need to obviously cancel this listener when the component unmounts, and then hopefully that should mean that when we go off of our screen, it goes to 0, like opacity 0, and then when we come back, it comes back, right? So I don't know how I can test this. Like if I go like this and then we come back, it's not there, and then like whoa, okay. Let's just commit this. Git fixed some stuff. I normally hate commits that are just like that, but you know, it's personal, so just one more thing. Yeah, I know, but we're done for tonight. We're definitely done. I shouldn't have tapped that because that made a loud poppy pop. So yeah, I got sidetracked. What was the issue? Basically the issue was that these SVGs were positioned absolute, and then because we were translating them across the screen, they were making the whole sort of scroll thing on the body go crazy, so we needed to basically wrap it in a div with a width of 100%, position relative, which is what the thing was that we didn't know, and then set the overflow to hidden so that it doesn't overflow scroll. Is it live somewhere? Yeah, it's going to be live on my website, which is jsmth.co, and every commit that I did would have been refreshing. I kind of mentioned it at the start of the stream, but obviously people joined halfway. So this was the last time I refreshed. We got to this point. I don't know how quickly that's going to sort of like upload, but yeah, seems to be fine. Do you use Figma design? Tweet when you go live again. I followed you. Cool. Yeah, I did tweet. I don't use Twitter very much. I should use all of these things, I know, but I don't, and I need to get into using social media because I don't, and I need to. So if you want to go and follow me on Twitter, this is my handle up here, and you can go to the website that we've been coding today, and it will also be there. Yeah, cool. Do I use Figma for design? Yeah, yep. I used to use Sketch. And then basically I found that when you were designing things that are quite a big document, or even opening designs from a designer that is a big document, it just like is so slow and really kind of like makes your laptop work for it. And then I started using Figma and all of that just went away. Like uses the actual GPU they have, so it's just a lot smoother, and they have a desktop client. I mean, normally I definitely use an inline SVG, and you can just sort of import the SVG directly in React and then use it as a React component with some like TypeScript definition. But this stream I didn't do it because I just felt like it was kind of unneeded for this time, because if I did that then I might as well have gone into SVG morphing and animating the SVG and then using like a blur filter on the SVG instead of a CSS filter and making it like super performant. But I didn't want to spend like 3 hours on sort of like making that background performant. So I just kind of used an image tag, but I'm thinking like another stream it would be really fun to kind of take that background and make it like 10 times better with using like an inline SVG, importing it with React, and then using an animation library to morph the path, and then using a blur filter on the SVG, and that will make it like super performant and really nice and smooth. But I just didn't get around to it in the stream, clearly, as I haven't finished the site yet. But I will. I won't code the site until I stream. How's that? I should stream more. Yep, I should. How's the stream been, by the way? Are all the settings sort of fine? Is there any lag anywhere? Um, are you getting good frame rates? Is the audio fine? Like, I don't know. This is like the first stream I've really done with like two massive 5K monitors that are like using and like a 4K camera and all of this stuff. So I didn't really know settings, and I kind of just sort of did a lot of research and clicked around and hoped for the best. Camera's a bit delayed. Yeah, I think I have like buffering turned on the camera on OBS, which might be why it's delayed, but I think it makes the general frame rates per second a little bit smoother. So I think it's like you win some, you lose some. Okay, well, I'll look into that and I'll see if I can fix that. What do I use for hosting? So normally Heroku. I find it just like super easy, mainly because I've used it for so long. I kind of know my in and out of Heroku really, really well. But like also now is super, super cool. And I've been playing around a lot with that, with using like serverless functions with their sort of like framework for uploading, and it's like super fun. You can just do sort of like now and then press enter and it's live, and it's just like crazy. But I prefer Heroku for sort of production things and scaling and just managing things from staging to production and all of that stuff. And it's only because I know it like better, because I've used it for so long. I just don't want to risk it using it for like a really production app sort of thing. I love the Now V2 setup, everything serverless. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. The team there are doing some really amazing things, and I follow them a lot because everything they do is really, really impressive development wise. They've just got like a Series A funding as well, which is going to be some exciting things coming from their team. So yeah, really excited to see that. Yeah, exactly. Working on a new portfolio now. With Now, learning to use Now. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's just like, it's kind of weird because it's like it used to, especially back in the day, like when you had to use like Apache hosts and stuff with a Linux server and like HostGator and all of these like clunky ass websites, which like took time. You had to use like an FTP client. You couldn't connect it with GitHub and all of this stuff. And now you can just sort of like type Now into the into the command line, and it's like online, and you're just like, well, that was cool, and that was free, and that was easy. And it's really fun to play around with these things, and the tech behind it is super, super cool. The articles that they have on their website goes into it really in depth, and it's really nice. XAMPP, yeah, oh god, all of the tutorials I had of setting up a local host on XAMPP for PHP. Crazy. Yeah, I was saying, Pete, that like when I started to code back in like 11 years ago, there wasn't even like a border radius was like CSS free, right? So how do you do a border radius before border radius? You had to use like a like an image of the four corners, and then like with a transparent background, and then replace them. But like if you wanted like a border and a drop shadow, then you'd kind of have to link it all up, and oh god, it took like hours to get like a box with a drop shadow and border radius that could be like any size you wanted it to be. But we don't have to struggle with that anymore because tech has moved on, and that is great. Can you think of like a sort of game that I could play while I'm coding that makes me drink more? Because I found that I just didn't really drink very much because I was coding. A lot of companies still use a clickable image as a button on their site. It makes me vomit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why. Don't know why people do it. Yeah, I think Bootstrap is still a completely viable option, especially if you're just making a website that's like a proof of concept. I don't think necessarily people use it anymore to kind of make a production website with like changing the theme, because like they give you a bunch of components, right? But like components aren't like nowadays aren't necessarily hard to find a React component for it, or like make it yourself and style it. And I think you have so much more control on how the like UX actually works, and not just the UI, that it's not not really used for like high level production apps, but like for small like test websites or like proof of concept or just a small sort of like side project, Bootstrap's like totally cool and like, yeah, totally worth it. Drink every time I commit, yeah, that would be quite fun. I should get into committing more, really. Honestly, I kind of leave too much time between my commits, if I'm honest. Drink every time and do a live preview check. Oh, yeah, that could be fun. That could be fun. Drink every time you create a bug. It doesn't happen very often. I think I got like 2 bugs coding this, and they were resolved pretty quickly. Maybe when I'm doing sort of like more complicated things, if I'm doing sort of like high level optimizations or like Redis streams or like something like really sort of in depth, then it'll be better to do like a shot every time I make a bug. But that'd probably just make me code a lot longer because I'd want to make sure, oh, camera's doing the thing again. I think it's definitely like a timer, right? Anyone have like a DSLR that says there's a timer, right, that you can record? Why do you use Next.js on top of React? I use it just because it has all of like, basically it has like routing set up, it has server-side rendering set up, it has all of that stuff. And I was going to use Gatsby because I've been like researching into them a bit. And all of the stuff that they're doing with plugins and allowing you to have, for example, like a really simple image plugin which allows you to preload images and have like the blur effect and all of that. It's really cool. But I just found that like for this website, really didn't need any of the things that Gatsby was offering, although they have a lot of built-in things which make it really, really fast for rendering, especially on production. It's not a massive app, and I don't really, not really looking for anything like crazy here. It's just my personal site. And Next.js is just sort of like super simple, like right to create like a new page. I just literally make like a new page in the code editor. It's like don't have to worry about routing and anything like that, or caching or server-side rendering and how that works with styled components and how it has like a different pre-rendered class name to, it's just like it's all done for you, so it just kind of makes it easier to pick up. But Next.js is also super cool, and with like their like GraphQL API sort of setup with serverless functions, you can take it really, really far, and you can make like a really nice production like scale app that can hold a lot of people and be sort of super optimized and all that stuff. But I just used it because it's cool. Drink every time the camera does a thing. Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. But then that means that I wouldn't fix it for the next one, which I plan on doing. So yeah, exactly. So it's like every time you do a line of code, you have to take a shot, and every time you press backspace, you have to take a shot, and then every 10 minutes or something, you also have to take a shot. So it's like you have to try and write the least amount of code, you have to make the least amount of mistakes, and all while getting drunk at the same time, which is which is quite funny. But I think that's a bit crazy. Like I would just be fucking drunk as on here, and I just wouldn't be making a website. Yeah, every 10th line of code. Yeah, that was it. It wasn't every line. uh, yeah. There was also a timer. That's a great movie. That's a great movie. Every time that I sort of like, every time that I sort of wanted to get motivated or hyped for web development when I was younger, I just used to watch that movie. And I was like, I'm going to make the next social network. I'm going to be the best. And then I didn't, so. But it got me coding again. Right, well, I guess I'll head off. I mean, we got pretty far. We made the background, we made the typey thing, we put my face at the bottom, we laid everything out, we put the links in, we styled the links, we did all of that. And I think the next stream, 2:40 a.m. here, logging off on the night. Great stream, I'll try my best to catch the next one. Awesome. Thank you very much for everything that you did through following my accounts and even just being here through the support and chatting in the chat. It's been really nice. It could have gone really badly and had no one watching, so thank you, and I really appreciate you watching me. What is Tailwind? Tailwind is basically just like another bootstrap, right? We can take a look if you want together. I tend not to keep up with like this stuff. Like, it's been so long since I've made an app now, because normally like I'm working already on like Jour and it's already, I don't need to make it from scratch again. It's already a production app. So but yeah, this is looking really nice. Does everything have like a transition property, or are they just doing this because it looks cool? Because imagine if they just have like one of them like star, like star, everything is going to be transition. I don't think that's the case, surely, because that would mess things up for responsive, right? You'd have things moving around. But this looks quite nice. So they have like components just the same as Bootstrap. They have buttons, cards, forms, flexbox, grids, just like Bootstrap. Navigation, just like Bootstrap, and I'm guessing it's all responsive, just like Bootstrap. So yeah, it's basically Bootstrap, right? Pretty much exactly the same. There's loads of these sort of libraries out there, and like there was a period of time where I was like sort of making one, but then it's really hard to decide for things like class names and stuff, and I just prefer to make it from scratch every time, really. How many times do you reckon am I going to say that I'm heading off and then not head off? Like, what are your guesses? I reckon I'm going to say it at least 2 more times before I head off. But it's really fun. I like it. I'm looking forward to getting some pictures put up on the wall. I've got some pictures coming from an artist that I like based in Amsterdam. I'm just going to go on this wall here. That's going to be cool. It's like hand painted, so it's like not even a print, which is going to be really nice. I don't normally like take too much care about how like my office looks, really. It's kind of for so long just being like a desk with like my screen set up on my laptop, so I'm trying to turn it into a bit more of like a chill room, have my PlayStation so I can like have a break and all of that stuff, and it's not just like staying here for like 10 hours of the day and just not go out. Which obviously I don't do now anyway, because, you know, self-isolating and all that, but it's better, right? Your mic is stealing your focus. Yeah, I know. If I move it really close, it's going to take my focus and I'll be blurry. But yeah, I will try and have like a better camera setup. Honestly, I kind of just like, thing is, I moved my monitors around and stuff, and then I was like, oh, I need to have the camera on, and it wasn't until that point where I was like, oh, it doesn't quite like look right. I don't know whether if it should be like here, like more directly on my face, because at the moment it's kind of like pointing down on me. I wonder if I can remove the buffering from my screen. Does these things get affected live? So if I remove buffering, whoop-a-da-boo. I don't know if this is going to be any more less lag. So if I put my hand up in like 3, 2, 1 and put my hand up, how's the lag now that I've removed buffering? Is there like a less delay between? Who knows? Who knows? So next stream, do you reckon I focus on finishing the website and getting the laptop done with the logos, or do you reckon I focus on optimizing some of the things that could be better? Like, I'm pretty sure like the mouse box thing could be better, and I'm pretty sure the background could definitely be better. But maybe I make the whole website before I worry about that stuff. Probably. Because I still need to do sort of like some really basic media queries for responsive. But yeah, all right. As I'm at my end of the drink now, I'm gonna actually go. But yeah, thank you for an awesome stream, honestly. Like, so many of you guys stuck around. I think I had like 20 viewers sort of like all the time, really. I think like 15, 20 viewers seem to be sort of like the average, and really appreciate you guys staying around and sort of sticking through me, even when I'm doing some boring stuff like talking to the camera while I'm drinking. It's really fun, and I'm definitely going to be doing this more often. I think it's going to be fun to kind of use this YouTube channel more and start making some content. And live streaming is cool because I don't have to do any editing, right? After this, it just goes straight up to YouTube. So, and I did all of the settings that were like adult content so that I can swear and drink alcohol and all of that stuff. So I should get monetized and all of that stuff, all of that healthy stuff. Odds on the green screen coming out. Not now. I mean, I'd have to take it down from up there and then set up like the poles and get the stream. And what could I have as my background if I had a green screen? Like, I couldn't have my office, which is kind of nice. I would have to have like white or black or maybe a beach somewhere. Maybe I have the green screen, and then when I switch to this view, I have like some crazy background behind me. Okay, cool. I'm going to show this message. I don't know why it automatically hit it. I guess it's because you're shouting out another channel, but go ahead. I mean, any development channel is quite cool to be shout out on here. And yeah, go check out this channel. He only does live streams. Is that right? It's called Coding Garden. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. It sounds really cool. Could probably get some tips from watching him too. Get the kittens on the camera. I only have one kitten, and it's not even a kitten anymore. So, get the cats on the camera. Maybe. I have 2 little cats. I have a tiny little cute cat. It's a cat now. It's getting big. Which is a Bengal. And I have an actual cat, which is just a normal sort of like turtle shell cat. But like, also cats are annoying on stream, right? Someone poisoned your cat last year? Oh, Jesus. Well, that's not very nice. I'd hate that. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. No one deserves that. No one. But I reckon this is about the 3rd time I've said I'm heading off now. So I reckon that's about right. That's about right to head off, right? Cool. Anyway, thank you. It's been really, really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This video is going to be live now on my channel, and the chat also. It's also linked to on my website, which is what we made today. Just joined, first time watching a live stream. Is the site done? If so, please show. The site's not done. We got pretty far. Okay, I'll show it. I mean, the amount of times I've said to people that I'm going because has been like 3 or 4 times now, and I haven't gone. But I will show it. I'll show the end result, and then I'll head off. So basically, what we got done today, if I switch over, is basically we got this right. So if we refresh, it types out this sentence, and then backspaces, and then all of that stuff. This background is like a gradient, which is sort of moving around and changing slightly. And yeah, and we've kind of just got some text up here. What it's going to look like is this Figma document where basically we have this laptop down here. We have these logos which will be clickable. When you hover on these logos, it's going to change the sort of like gradient display on my face so that it looks like the laptop's opening up these websites, and then you can obviously click to them to go to them. And then this box is going to sort of be sort of hovering around, and then if you hover over certain things like my eye or my ear, it will say sort of like fun, quirky things. And I think it's going to be quite fun. We did things kind of like quick, kind of like painless and just sort of like fast, but we can make this like super more, like so much more optimized using like SVGs and paths and actually morphing them and not just translating them. And we can do some like really cool things that we might be coming on other streams, but for now, like this is fine. I think in the next stream I'll finish off with like the laptop and maybe some responsive and getting these messages in sort of like a shared state using use context or use reducer and things like that. But yeah, for now it's fine. It works well. And yeah. So that's what I did. Hello, the box along with the mouse is at the top left corner of the website when it loads. I don't know if that's intended or not. Yeah, basically it's position absolute and then 0, 0 for the top left, and then it's basically when you move the mouse, it will then pick it up. So I could, for example, oh god, am I ever going to go? Am I ever going to go? I could, for example, if I have the starred box, if I set the opacity to 0 by default, 0 pixels, 0 by default, then what's going to happen is basically when the mouse moves and it sets this opacity to 1, it will overwrite that, which means that when you refresh the screen, that box won't actually be up there, and only when the mouse comes on, the box will opacity fade in, or not fade, but just show, and then it will start. So let's just commit that little change. I'll just put fixed box. Site is looking dapper. Thank you very much. I'm an Android developer, but I suck at front end. Nice site. Thanks. Cool. Yeah, I've also been sort of, sorry, I didn't mean to shout then. I've also been developing apps for the past sort of like 2.5 years now, in React Native, and sort of going sort of really in depth in that, sort of working on optimizations, obviously I'm a lead developer at Jour, by the way. If you don't know, you can go to my website, which is jsmth.co, and you can click on this Most Loved Journal, and you can go to Jour, where I'm the lead developer, and download the app. And you know, we're doing cool things, and that's what I do full time. Really enjoy it. We're doing some really cool stuff, and the messages that we get from our users on our reviews and stuff are honestly life-changing, and I feel so lucky to be part of a team and an app which are doing so much good stuff for people. This isn't even up to date. I think we have like 300,000 people journaling. I haven't even checked it recently. Let's have a look. How many people do I have on the app? So we have 337,010 people currently journaling on Jour, which is really cool. Really cool. And me and my friends Bobby and Max, who were in the stream earlier, we sort of made the app and are having a really great time. Yeah, definitely. Eventually you'll get better at front end if you keep going at it. Even if you prefer server side, and if you're doing like server side in JavaScript, then you're basically doing front end because you're basically learning JavaScript, right? So I do Node.js, even though I know like a bit of Ruby and I know like a lot of PHP. I choose Node.js. I think it's better for making microservices and scaling up clusters and that sort of way. I've really enjoyed sort of taking JavaScript to the back end. So try out Node.js if you haven't. Then you'll be learning JavaScript. Then you'll get better at JavaScript and front end. And then you can make React Native apps with React Native. And you can make iOS apps as well as Android apps. But, you know, they're never going to be as performant as the native app. You can do a lot of things. You can have like Swift components that are imported into the JavaScript library, which makes it more performant, which I've been doing a lot of. But, you know, I always say that JS is no programming language that is and that start a fight at work. Well, you don't think it's a programming language, and that starts a fight. I mean, I don't really have any belief as like a developer. I don't have any strong morals or beliefs as how development should be or what people should think. I just think that development is fun and everyone does it in a unique way, and you should never judge people on what they think and stuff. So I'm glad that you actually work in a situation where you can do development as your career. It's fun. Yep, I haven't tried Angular in a really long time. So I've tried it a little bit, but yeah, I've tried Vue a bit too, but like React kind of stuck with me. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm never gonna go. We've already been going on for like another hour after I first said that I'm gonna go. That's terrible. I'm gonna go. Thank you everyone that watched my stream. I'm gonna be back to finish off this website, maybe make some optimizations, all of that stuff. But for now, thank you very much for watching my video. Feel free to come and subscribe to my YouTube channel, almost at 30,000 subscribers. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, where I will be tweeting next time I go live. And check out Jour. It's a really cool app, and I think it could help a lot of people. So, thank you, and see you guys soon.